So I want to think out loud with you for a few minutes about a question that I've been thinking about, and it's not just a debate online, and it's not just in our comment section on JTV, but it's within the channel itself. And it's this: should we keep responding to high-profile anti-Semitism? You know, naming names, breaking down the lies, answering claims. Or, as some others are saying, should we stop giving oxygen to people who thrive on attention and instead focus entirely on positive Jewish ideas, Jewish wisdom, and the truth about Israel? I'm sure many of you know who some of the anti-Semitic figures I'm referring to, from Nick Fuentes to Candace Owens to Tucker Carlson, and so on and so on. And I genuinely welcome your thoughts and comments in the comment section, but I'm going to share with you what I'm thinking at the moment about this. So, on the surface, this may feel just like a strategic YouTube media question, but actually underneath it, this is a Torah question. Judaism has a phrase that keeps echoing in my mind right now: know how to answer the heretic. That's from the Talmud. That line alone, in some ways, seems to settle it. Answer them, respond, engage. But Judaism is never that simple, because the Torah also says that we should distance ourselves from bad influences. Don't place stumbling blocks in front of others. Don't elevate destructive voices. And Judaism definitely doesn't believe in turning villains into celebrities. So, which is it? Do we speak or stay silent? Do we expose or ignore? Do we fight the darkness or increase the light? The fact that we're even asking this already puts us in very Jewish territory. Here's the first thing. I think Judaism would insist on the answer is not about them, it's about us. That line, know how to answer the heretic, isn't a command to go hunting for debates. It doesn't say go argue, it doesn't say go platform, it says know how to answer, meaning when a question already exists in the mind of your listener, when confusion is already there, when people are encountering ideas that distort Judaism, Jews, Israel, distort the truth itself, then you have a responsibility not to leave them unarmed. Silence doesn't neutralize influence. Silence hands the microphone to whoever is loudest. But here's the second thing I think Judaism would say, and this is uncomfortable. Attention is power. Judaism understands something modern culture is only now waking up to. You don't just fight ideas with arguments. You fight them with focus. Where you place your attention is where you place strength. And there is a real danger that by constantly naming certain figures, replaying their claims, responding to every provocation, we accidentally turn them into unavoidable reference points. Not teachers, but fixtures. Judaism is deeply wary of that. We're not meant to orbit falsehood, even when we oppose it. So the danger isn't mentioning harmful voices at all. The danger is centering them. And this leads to a really important distinction. I think this is where Jewish wisdom becomes incredibly practical. Ideas matter much more than personalities. Judaism doesn't really care about celebrities. It cares about claims. What is being said? Why does it resonate? Where is it false? Historically, morally, spiritually? And sometimes naming a public figure makes sense because your audience already knows them, and pretending otherwise just feels evasive. And also, we have to understand that there's lots of people who are following these people, and they do listen to them. And realizing there are responses to this, to these massively influential people who are pushing anti-Semitism, by us naming them and saying, we've got a response for you, something you may not have heard of before, I think can also do a lot of good. So I'll give you an example of where I do this. Nick Fuentes said that Jews worship the devil because they believe that the devil is actually, the Satan actually is a part of God or works for God, right? And so I saw that this was going viral on X, on social media. And so I thought I'd reference this in a video and then use that as a way of creating a short video that shares the incredibly remarkable and I think pretty inspirational view of the devil in Jewish thought as someone that works for God to actually push humanity to grow and like almost works like a moral personal trainer that helps us to push ourselves and grow and become the best human beings that we can be. So yes, I was amplifying something Fuentes said, but it was in the purpose of allowing people to go down a different path that opens their eyes to a beautiful way of understanding Judaism. Having said that, sometimes also not naming them is the wiser move, because ideas can be dismantled without building someone else's brand. It's a balance that needs to be struck. And I think neither approach is cowardice and neither approach is fear. They're tools. And Judaism would judge tools by outcomes. And there's another Jewish idea that matters here, and it's often misunderstood. A little light dispels much darkness. People love this line, but they often use it to mean ignore the darkness. That's not what Judaism does. The Torah talks openly about false gods, false prophets, destructive ideologies. It names them. It analyzes them. It explains why they're seductive and why they're wrong. Judaism never assumed truth survives without explanation, but it also never believed our mission was to chase every lie across the internet. The goal is not to extinguish every flame. The goal is to ensure people are holding light before they reach the fire. So let me put this into something more concrete. I think Judaism would say it's right to respond when these ideas are already influencing people, that silence would leave confusion unchallenged, and you can respond calmly, clearly, without outrage. And you can pivot quickly to substance, and that's something that I really try to do. So, okay, this has been said, a lot of people are talking about it, now let's get to substance. From Torah, history, ethics, and facts. And the result is stronger Jewish confidence, not constant anxiety. That's the result I would want and I would welcome, and that's ultimately what the mission here is. So I think Judaism would caution against responding when the conversation becomes just reactive instead of purposeful. If you're just feeling drained, angrier, smaller after making the content, then the focus slowly shifts from truth to personalities. Or if you find yourself repeating the same rebuttal with diminishing returns, that's not weakness, that's just discernment. And here's something else I wanted to be honest about. Mentioning influential anti-Semites does get attention. It does bring reach. It does pull people in. Judaism doesn't deny reality. But Judaism would also ask a harder question. What kind of attention are you cultivating when you do that? Are people coming to understand Judaism better? Or are they coming for the next outrage hit? As long as you're shaping thoughtful people, if you're shaping anxious ones, that's a problem. The metric can't only be views as well. It has to be what kind of people are we helping to create. So I think when picking a topic or something that's going viral online, when there's something you want to talk about, it has to be purposeful. It has to be a reason why. Something positive you want people to take away from it. I don't think it should just be about complaining or whining. And this is why I don't think the real choice is talk about anti-Semites or talk about positive Jewish ideas. I think the Jewish move is integration. You answer where answers are needed, but you don't let lies define the agenda. We'll say what we want to say and make our own content, but we'll also respond when there's things to respond to. We clarify and we build. And truth should not live forever in defense mode. But we also have to understand that the whole point of Torah is to help fix our world, to help shine light where there is darkness, to help give people clarity in ways in which they can improve their lives, the world, the way in which they can serve this world and serve God. Judaism does not believe our mission is to chase every single falsehood, but it also doesn't believe truth survives on vibes alone. Our responsibility is not to platform hatred, but to make sure that when people encounter it, they have something stronger in their hands. Clarity, context, depth, confidence, truth. That's what Jewish wisdom looks like in a noisy world. And if this channel can model that, not panic, not silence, not obsession, but thoughtful, rooted, strategic truth, then we're not just responding to anti-Semitism, we're doing something far more Jewish than that. We're teaching people how Jews think. So as I say, we'll respond when we need to respond. We'll do content that's just ideas we want to get out there into the world. entirely separate to reacting to people as well. But there's going to be one overarching mission, which is to share Jewish wisdom, Jewish ideas, truth about Israel, truth more generally with a capital T, to the world. That is our mission, and I'd really welcome your thoughts in the comment section so we can continue this really, really important conversation. Before I finish, also want to mention to you that we've just launched a new documentary on our streaming platform JTV Plus called Heaven, Hell and the Afterlife, and it's all about the radical Jewish view on the afterlife, which I'm sure some of you may not be so familiar with, but it's very different to what you may have been told or heard, and it's fascinating stuff, and it can change your view of everything. Have a watch the trailer, and if you want to watch the full thing, you can click the link below right now in the video description. Across the world, the afterlife is described in simple terms. Heaven above, hell below, the devil waiting to tempt you, and a humanity born in original sin. But Judaism tells a story that is older, deeper, and far more hopeful. Less obsessed with fear and more rooted in purpose. A story where the soul is not born guilty, but born noble. Where the body is not the enemy, but the partner. Where the devil isn't God's rival, but his assistant, because Judaism has no second power. Where hell exists, but not forever. Where heaven exists, but not as the final destination. And where the real end of the human story is resurrection, not escape. Judaism views history as a mission, not a mistake. Other civilizations teach that we are here to earn our way into heaven. Judaism teaches that we are here to bring heaven down to earth. And to understand what happens after we die, we first have to understand why we're here in the first place. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to reveal the Jewish vision of life after death. One of the most misunderstood ideas, but if understood correctly, can transform your very understanding of life itself. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.